Well, how the turntables. I'm sure everybody probably heard the news by now, but in case you didn't, the universally beloved and totally flawless system that was Minecraft mob votes, I say so sarcastically, has been cancelled.
Mission accomplished, good work!
Now, I personally didn't really expect we'd ever see the end of it, considering Minecraft mob votes have been Mojang's scapegoat to pretend to listen to the player base and to feedback, so it is definitely very surprising to see they're dropping it. I mean, let's face it, it's probably that they were out of ideas for what to put in the mob votes since they were too busy with their office sleepover. But yeah, in case you couldn't tell, I definitely consider this to be an overall positive change. There is very little shit of value that actually got lost here, and in fact, I'd argue there's nothing at all that got lost here from the perspective of the player base, which I might as well get into since I'm already here to milk this shit for all the ad revenue it's realistically worth. Now, here's the thing, right? Ever since the entire Glow Squid incident, motherfuckers were always paranoid as shit about the mob votes getting rigged or whatever the fuck, and would always pretend that the large content creators or otherwise potentially rigging the votes was its biggest issue, when in reality it's actually far from it. Like seriously, their dick jumps whenever someone says the word rig. Like, it is pretty wild how much they were obsessed with that shit, and I'm honestly surprised it didn't at any point become a meme. Or maybe it was and I just missed it. Either way, back to what I was actually talking about. While people with large platforms swaying the votes was certainly an issue, alongside potential botting, which Mojang claims to be ahead of, which I personally doubt given their stellar track record. Not to mention how, last I checked, the votes were held on fucking Twitter of all places, in pretty much the most amateurish way possible. Like seriously, imagine owning the single best-selling video game on the planet and be backed by fucking Microsoft of all companies, and you can't even figure out how to do mob votes on your own website, or hell, even the launcher. So already the mob votes were handled very poorly in the technical side of things, but its main problem is rooted deeper than that, and it's probably extremely obvious. And that is that they're presenting free options, and then they say, oh yeah, only one of these will make it to the game, and the rest will be banished to the Jimbo realm forever, never to be seen again. Sucks to suck, bitches. Which is already such a retarded fucking system, since they're already alienating 66% of the voters on average. If they instead had it where the winner would come in the following update like promised, and the rest at some undisclosed time down the road, that would already alleviate a lot of its issues. And the funny thing is, they were aware of exactly this, which is why they tried to alleviate it in probably the worst way possible, by presenting one mob as the obvious choice, which they actually did twice. The most well-known example is the Sniffer, and that's the one everyone knows, but I'd also argue the Isolager was also a case of this. I mean, do think about it, the Chillager was the only one out of them that was actually shown to do something, or at least something that wasn't recycled from the rest of the game. The Moo Bloom was literally just a flower on legs in terms of unique content, which is such a wildly idiotic idea, because if you're using a bee farm, it's way simpler to just have the flowers wherever the fuck you want them, and it also doesn't fuck with the AI when the flowers start walking around. And yeah, oh, but it looks cool, awesome, I don't care. And the Glow Squid, I don't even have to explain since everyone already knows the story. It was shown to do literally nothing, and what's funny is, even Mojang said not to vote for it.
If you want the Glow Squid in Minecraft, vote for it during the Minecraft live stream. But please don't.
But too bad, so sad, Kalu. First punishment, forcing the boring mob to win.
And what treatment did the winning mobs get? Well, motherfuckers will tell you that Glow Squid ended up becoming an actual good thing because of its drops. No. Colored signs becoming readable is a quality of life feature that should have already been in the fucking game. As for the item frames that are rendered as full bright, not to mention we would have already had them today anyways, so really the only reason the Glow Squid is even perceived as a good pick is because it had zero expectations to begin with, and it's not hard to improve on garbage.
That was an improvement, but it's not hard to improve on garbage. Try it again.
And coincidentally, when the other winners made it to the game, with arguably more content and more useful content in terms of gameplay, they disappointed. Whoopity fucking do. So in reality, no matter what won the votes, it would end the same way. Which is why it's always fucking hilarious when retards start arguing about how we should have gotten this, that and the other thing. I mean seriously. I saw motherfuckers who were angry that we didn't get, and listen to this, a redstone clock that breaks down like an old tractor unless maintained. When the reality is, whatever ended up winning would have been just as bland, which is the main problem and one Mojang never had any intention of addressing. You have to remember, this entire system was made as a scapegoat to pretend like they're listening to the player base. So they're just gonna throw out a mob and let the redditors fight it out. Whoopsie poopsie, should have voted for the other thing, which totally would have come out better than the thing you got. And while pissing off Reddit is always a good thing, it would be nice if no one else got caught in the crossfire. And it's funny too when motherfuckers literally made a better version of all the mobs in 2 weeks with fucking data packs. The best thing about it was the geniuses trying to defend Mojang like, oh, but mod developers and Mojang have different standards, where Mojang wants to make sure the mob is as polished as possible. And then the sniffer came out and couldn't even outdo the data pack version of itself, made in 2 weeks after the announcement. Yeah, all those different standards motherfuckers have been real quiet on that one. So, like I said earlier, ultimately, I do not think anything of value was lost. Like what? Constant arguments and constant disappointment? Mob votes were just straight up a loss for everyone. Even those who voted for the winner would be left disappointed unless they already expected the worst, and well, if you're expecting the worst, then you already know there's a problem, and likely deep denial too. And here's the thing, right? I do not think more content is a bad thing, and I would say everything that did get added is ultimately a good thing. The actual problem and the reason people are upset is because they're expecting more from a company that already showed they can deliver more and that has promised more. And it doesn't help when the company in question tends to do that quite often, and there have been countless cope excuses on why that is, such as more Microsoft, more Bedrock parity, more COVID. And if you know more than a preschooler, then you already know that all of it's absolute bullshit. And because I already know some retards in the comments will try to fight me on this, let me quickly go over the examples I listed here. Microsoft is notoriously hands off the studios they own, case in point Free for Free Industries and Halo Infinite, where Halo Infinite only got better after Microsoft lit a fire under everyone's asses. Bedrock parity is an absolute fucking joke, as Bedrock itself is notoriously buggy and also notoriously behind in terms of updates. And as for the last one, it does not take more effort sitting on your ass at home than it does in the office. In fact, some even prefer it. And yes, as someone in the industry, I would know. But now, the real thing that's gonna be interesting to see is, how is Mojang planning to get around listening to feedback since their old reliable is gone? I mean, there is a possibility they will restart it next year. As far as I know, they didn't exactly say it was permanently gone, but one thing is certain, and that being that they will definitely not start listening now because of this. I mean, if you saw that failed abortion that is the Minecraft movie, then you already know that much. And before you say that it's not Mojang directly working on it, they certainly do have a say in what's going on with it. It would be absolutely moronic to do otherwise. But the long and short of it is, they're likely gonna continue the same way they have until now. Just half-baking shit and doing minimal adjustments to pretend they're listening to feedback. And yeah, I probably droned off long enough, but hey, it is always fun to laugh at shit like this, and especially when it's motherfuckers like Mojang. The only time they can work is at June 1st, 12 AM, where they crunch hard to add epilepsy to all their socials to appease Twitter.
Have blue check marks on Twitter and run on soy and are not a real gamer. So sad indeed.
Any other time though, and you get nothing but grey noise of them snoring, so yeah. On that note, that's gonna do it for this one. Be sure to like and subscribe to boost me in the algorithm. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.